Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. How the devil are you? It's Friday and this is the ghost of Wayne. I'm not actually here at the moment. I'm actually at Duxford today because they got a flying day on, and the genre that they're actually doing for this flying day today is the Americans. They've got things like the B-17 Sally B flying. They're going to have just loads of planes, not kind of like an air show. It's just basically just showing a flying genre of planes. So I'm going to see that today. Now I was at Duxford last month, or month before last month, I can't remember what it was, for the air show, and I did get to see the Apache AH-64E, and I put some footage of that at the end of this video. But today I am going to be doing pack 9 of the Agora Models build. Check it out. So by the look of it, I'm doing stages 67 to 75. We're going to be building some of the stand today. I have got all the parts of the Apache behind me, which is hidden at the moment. You can't see that. Now, once again, if there's any armaments, missiles, stuff like that, I will show you them, but I won't be doing them. I'm going to do them as a separate video at the end because, I mean, there's well over 100 armaments that need decals and stuff like that. So I will go over that. But if you want to get this for yourself, I've put a link in the video description. There's also that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So in stage 67, we're going to be assembling parts for the left avionics bay. Now, all the instructions for this are on the Agora Models website, so I am following those instructions. And you know what, thinking about it, I do think the best way to do this build is to build the helicopter, get this on the stand, and then start building the armaments, then laying it out, a bit like a doll's house that you're building up onto it so that you've got this whole scene diorama. So to start this, first thing we're going to need is this section here, and we're just going to be pushing in this detail here. Now, once again, I'm not that clued up about what parts are, so please feel free in the comments to actually comment exactly what I'm putting in. So I'm going to push this into here. Just like that. Now we have made one of these before here, just so you know. And if you remember last time we were creating these RCEFS tanks, they do want us now to put some decals on them. Now they do provide the decals for that here. I had already put them on just like that in the last pack. So they're asking to do that now for the other one that we built. And that means we're left with these parts here, but that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 68, we're pretty much going to do what we did at the end of the last pack. We are going to be making another mobile stepladder. Now you have to forgive me, it's about 1,000 degrees in here at the moment, and I have got a sweater on, so I am going to put the aircon on. But before we assemble that other stepladder there, we're going to be just putting a bit of glazing onto this little door section here, or hatch. I've got that here, and it can only go in one way because the holes have already been pre-drilled for us. So I'm just going to be pushing this into here, so it's sitting in just like that. Now this is going to go onto the frame here. It can only go in one way, again because of the way that the tabs are actually laid out. So I'm pushing that into position there. So that's in just like that. Gonna need my magnifying glasses now because I've got this tiny detail to put in into the point here. Make sure you put it in the right way so it is fitting flush in there like that. And then we can put this whole thing to one side because now we are going to be erecting another mobile steps. And that means taking this brace first, which has got a D-shaped pattern, and putting this just into there. I think I am going to glue these into position. As a matter of fact, it does tell you to do that in the instructions. I'm then going to be putting the steps in, making sure that the warning stripes are facing this way here. So the first one, which has got 2 lugs on, will be going into this top position. And I'm trying to keep it square as I do this. Then all the other ones are going to be going on the next ones down. Again, making sure that this yellow warning section is facing outwards. And just continue that all the way down. And there you go, they're all into place just like that. They are able to move just a touch, which we're going to need to be able to do because we've then got to put the other side of this on here. So to do that, I'm going to be dropping some glue just on these edges here. and this post at the end. And you need to do it quite quickly because you don't want that glue to dry. Then it's a case of putting each one in. Now once you've put pressure on the top one, the rest should go in quite easily. And there you go. That is a bit of a fiddly job because you are racing against the glue drying, but that is all there is to do in that stage. Now once again we are left with a couple of items here. Now in stage 69 we're going to be continuing on the base. We do have some parts here, as you can see. Lots of little parts with hinges and stuff like that, and some screws. Let's get this out first though. I want to bring up what we were creating last time just here, looking like this. Now on this section here I want to put a clamp. So I've got that clamp here going around this way, and I want to be putting these flange screws into place. These are RP screws. Probably going to use my bigger screwdriver for this. On this side here with the long edge, I've got one of those clamps to put in there, and again these flange screws. And then I'm in a position to put these into place here, following the same pattern that we've got there. So I do want these all in the same way. So they're going to go this way, probably best on the top camera here. So one there. Again, make sure that these 3 dots are here in the same way. One next to it. And finally, this one in here. And then once again, I want these RP screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to keep all of this into place. So they're all in there, and then all I'm going to do is at this last side here, I'm going to put another tab in, ready for the plate that's going to go in there. And again, one of these flanged RP screws just to hold that into place there. So at the moment, that's how that's looking. Okay, in this pack here, we did have, if I get it out, this part just like that. I'm going to be putting a hinge on that. Here's all the hinges here. And there is a way round this is going to be going. So I'm going to need it this way. And it's going to go on top just like that there. And I'm holding this in with SP screws. They're right here. Just looking at my cameras, I think I'm going to need a light just over here. Might be me, but I think there's a bit of shadow over there. I'm being fussy again. I want to put 3 of these into place. Perfect. So that's in. Now I'm going to be building the ammunition bay door. So I need these parts here. It's going to lay these out. So one this way round and one that way round. Just like that. Again, probably best on the top camera. So first one looks like this, which has got a sort of like shorter side on here. That's going to go into this part just there. I'm going to need to glue that into position. You do want to glue directly into these sections here, not on the holes, because that's not holding anything. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry. And then the next one is just going to go on the other side this way round, just like that. Again, glue just on that underside and put that in this side here. And then on this original side that we put in, I'm going to be taking this, and this is going to be going on here just like that. So again, I can just put some glue down here and get this last one into position on here. And hold that into place. And with that on, looking like that, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now in stage 70, it's some armaments. I'm going to have a quick look at these to see if there's anything new that we're doing, but I do think that we have created these before. We've definitely done these before, so I am going to leave them till next time with the details that go on them. But these are kind of new here. Now these are going to require decals to go on. So what I'm going to do is I'll build one of them and we'll see how this looks. So what we're going to do first is just basically push the top into the bottom here to make one. There is a little notch. So it's going to look like that. Let's do that for all of these. We are going to need to glue these in by the look of it. And just off camera there, I did just glue those, so they can't come out now. We've got these tiny details now, which are going to be going onto this here. So I need my sprue cutters to cut one of these off. Going to hold my glue up like that so it's loaded up. This bit is tiny, so that's why I'm going to be putting it on my tweezers, rubbing this on the side here, and then putting this into the hole just at the top here. So when that's in, it should look like that. I'm going to do that for the others. And they're all in place. Now, even though I said I was going to do these at the end, because we haven't seen these before, I want to do them now. That's the last one just going in there. Perfect. Now, in the rear, you can probably see we've got a little hole there. That's for these details, which is probably one of the smallest things you're ever going to see. And it's the same technique. Hold it in my tweezers here. This is going to go on the back. It is shaped, so it can only go in one way, but I'm going to do that 3 more times. Okay, that's all 4 of those done. And I'm going to put the decals on just one of these, rather than do all 4. Again, I'll do the rest at the end. But I'm interested in these decals just here. So what I'm going to do is just take off all the decals just for one, put them all on and show you what they look like. So bring it over my tray here. I'm going to just drop these into the water here. Again, not too much, just enough to wet the backing. Okay, got a soft cloth here to sponge this off afterwards. And I have got a little bit of micro set here just to help me out getting these on. So I'm going to do the yellow stripes first. There we go, that's the first one on. Don't be afraid to put some of the micro set on top. It will soak through the decal, but it'll help you move it around into position. That looks good. And then I'll just blot that dry. I'm just going to do the same technique for all the rest of them. Now this is why I'm saving a lot of this stuff to the end, because just putting that on there took 10 minutes. So you can imagine how long it's going to take to do them all. But those little tabs that we glued on are going to enable it to sit into this carriage just like that. And because I need to actually have all of these completed, I'm not going to glue anything into place, but I am going to show you how these go. So once this one's on, you will be gluing these into position. But the second one will go in there just like that. Just gently put that to one side and bring over these parts and lay them out with the holes in exactly the same way, because I'm going to be putting these brackets into here and they do go a certain way round. We want the D-shaped pattern, the flat side, to be towards this edge here. That's perfect. Do one just for the middle. That's excellent. Again, I'm not gluing these in, but this is now going to go onto the D-shaped lugs I've got in here. And I have put that in incredibly loose so I can actually take this out, because all I'm going to do is mirror what we just did by putting these ones in here. So then that's looking just like that. And then on the underside here, which these are probably going to fall out, but I want to give you an idea of how they're going to go. There we go, that's good. I've got these 2 tiny parts here, 70J, and they're going to go into the 2 holes just either side here. Now don't worry if these fall out. Again, I'm just demonstrating this. I can glue these in though, and there is a D-shaped pattern to help me. If I'm being honest with you, it probably would have been easier to put these in before you put them together anyway. So when they're in, they'll look like that. Now once again, there is more decals to put on this, but I'm going to leave it there because I said I will do these all at the end, but I'm just wanting to demonstrate kind of like how these go. But that's the end of that stage. Now in stage 71, we're going to be assembling what's known as the MTADS turret. This is part 1. Once again, just taking all of these tiny parts out. And the first thing to do is on this section here, I've got some glazing to put in looking like this. This should just push into this cavity. Excellent. Just like that. I'm doing the same on this side here. Again, some glazing just to push in. Just to the cavity there. That's a little bit loose. So, I've got myself a little bit of micro crystal clear here. Do not put glue on this. I'm going to dab this just around the frame on the outside. Not a lot. Wipe off any excess. And then push that in. That's going to dry clear. Then it's just a case of pushing this side into this middle piece here. So that's in like that. And on the other side, what we just created is going to go into here. So when they're both together, that's how that's looking. Just put that to one side, and I'm bringing over this section now. Got a little detail to put in the top, and it's a very tiny detail. So once again, for that, I'm just going to leave my brush on glue standing up just like that. This is the detail I'm putting in. Little D-shaped hole just on top here. And get that into place just like that there. This can then be joined to this section just here. Like that. Then I'm holding that into place by putting this bracket over the top of these. And push that all the way down. Now this is still able to move, as you can see. But it is limited because of that bracket, how far it can move. I'm then going to be putting this section on this way round, just making sure that centre spindle goes in. And I do want it to be sitting quite square in there, just like that. So this is coming out of there. Then I've got one of these TP screws, which is going to hold all of that together. That's screwed in. Perfect. So that's how that's working. Just put that to one side, and I've got a tiny lens now to put into here. And this is a very tiny lens that I've got here. There's a chance you could probably misplace this if you don't keep an eye on it, but there we go. That lens is in there. Bringing this section over here, I'm going to be putting what we just created with that lens just onto this. Not going to need glue, it goes in quite tight. Once again, I've got a tiny lens, again, to put underneath this. You are definitely going to need some dexterity with this build. There you go, that's in. And then this is going to be going on top of this section, hiding that screw there. Just push that into place. So there you go, that's on just like that. Perfect. And that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 72, I'm going to be building some more onto the bottom of that display base. Once again, I've got some ornaments here, which I will be keeping till the end. And you can definitely see we are going to come to a stage where we are putting all of this together. So it's going to be quite a big stage. Again, make sure that these 3 lines here, or 3 dots should I say, are in place. Get this put in. Have my RP screws at the ready. And I need 2 of these screws to hold that one in. And now it's going to give you an idea of how big this base is going to be, because now we're starting on this section here. Keeping everything the same way. So this is going to go in here, there, just like that. I want one of these square pieces over these 3 lugs here. RP screw to hold these in. Going to put another connector on the one next to it, held in with RP screws, and then 2 brackets to put in, one here and one just at the top here. This is how big that's looking now, and that's the end of that stage. Obviously we did have those missiles to put together at the end of that stage, but as I said, I'm going to do that at the end. So in stage 73, we're going to be doing the MTADS turret, part 2. Loads to do in this build, isn't there? Absolutely loads. Just zoomed up a touch. For this one, I'm going to need the bracket here, and we've got a motor. This is going to be fun. Just going to put that into the cavity right here. Push that all the way in. Excellent. Now on this side of the motor, I've got a little gear, which is going to go on. I'm finding the easiest way to do this, because I'm struggling to get this on, is to put this on the motor here. I've got my duckbill pliers, which is going to push this into place, hold it into place of where it's going to go. I'm making sure it's square, and I'm going to hit this with the hammer on top. Very tricky, but as you can see, that's in there like that. Now I want to take this section of what we created in the last stage. I'm going to be putting these two parts now together. So that's in just like this. And I'm holding them in with UP screws. So one on this side. And one just on the other side there. And then I need a VP screw, which is just going to go underneath this section right here. Perfect. I've then got this gear, which is going to go into the cavity at the top just here. The shorter end of this gear, if you look on the top camera, needs to go near the top. So that's sitting in like that. And I'm going to want to put this over the top, just like that there. Make sure that the gear we just put in engages with the motor, just like that. And I need some KP screws now, just to secure that into place. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now, obviously that motor is going to be turning this, I'm guessing. So in stage 74, we're going to be assembling a co-pilot door and an external fuel tank. And once again, any ornaments here I will be doing at another time. Put them to one side and just take this door, which is metal. I've got some glazing to put in this, which is just going to clip into the frame here. So that's in like that. I've got a tiny detail again going in here. So looks like this. I want one side just going in here at the front. So that looks like that. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side here. Bring over this massive section that we were working on before. And I'm going to put the door into place just on this side here. Ensure it's sitting flat in there. Got some pins now to push into each side to keep this into place. So one in there, do the same on the other side. And I just want to check that operates. You see it opens and closes. Perfect. Just going to put that to one side now, because once again they want me to make a external fuel tank, which again I will put the decals on afterwards, but basically this has got a separate way it goes in. This one's going in there just like that. This one here, just like that there. Then obviously we could put the decals on that, but it will sit into the position on these stands just like that. And as I mentioned, they do want us to build another missile. I'll do that at the end, but that's all there is to do in that stage. So very similar to what we just done for the last stage of this pack, stage 75, we're going to be doing the pilot's door. Going to make this a little bit different because this external fuel tank, again, I'm just going to quickly put that together. If anything, it will look good for the thumbnail. Just having another one of these in position. Okay, put that to one side. Let's do the pilot's door. Again, this is all metal, the door is, but I'm going to put the glazing in. Perfect. Once again, I've got these little door handles to put on. I am using glue to help me with these. Now this time, these ones actually go at the top here. So one in there, one on the other side. Bring over this section again here. And this is going to be going into place just on this panel right there. Once again, holding this in with these pins. I am just putting these pins in a tiny bit of oil because it does help them go in. That's one in. And that's the second one in there. If you are having problems getting the pins all the way in, open it all the way up once you've got them as far as you can. And it will help you get that last little bit into there. But that's another door done. And that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. You can see why this is an award-winning build now, because there's so much to do. And we're going to be going into pack 10, which I do have here, with absolutely loads of bits, which I'm guessing are going to all come together soon. So we will be putting all this together. But this is looking pretty good, as you can see there. And I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.
The army and the part of the world, 2040, 2040,